Now, I know that sounds like a pretty bold claim, but it's not an exaggeration. It's actually a scientific fact. Because by the time this is over, the very act of you learning what I'm about to share is going to physically change your brain. You know, for the longest time, the common belief was that once you're an adult, your brain is, well, pretty much set in stone. The only changes we thought happened were bad ones, like losing brain cells as we get older. But as brain researcher Dr. Lara Boyd points out, that could not be further from the truth. The new, frankly revolutionary truth is that the adult brain is constantly changing, always adapting and rewiring itself based on what we do. And this incredible ability has a name: neuroplasticity. Seriously, this is one of the most important, most transformative discoveries in all of neuroscience, and it completely flips our understanding of who we are. So what is it exactly? Well, to put it simply, neuroplasticity means that every single time you learn something new, anything, a new language, a new recipe, even just a new fact, you are literally, physically changing the structure of your brain. And this isn't just for kids. This process happens our entire lives with no age limit. Okay, that sounds amazing, right? But how? How does a thought, or a movement, or a piece of information actually turn into a physical change inside your head? Well, researchers have figured out that it all breaks down into 3 key ways the brain makes this happen. So these 3 mechanisms are chemical change, structural change, and functional change. And to really get how they work together, let's use a super simple, super relatable example. Imagine you're learning to play a new song on the piano. You sit down, you practice for an hour, and by the end of it, you're actually getting pretty good. Your fingers are moving more smoothly, you're hitting the right notes, you get that awesome feeling of, yes, I finally got it. That feeling, that really fast improvement you see in just one practice session, that's the first type of change in action, chemical change. Your brain is basically flooding the connections between your neurons with more chemical signals, making it easier for them to talk to each other. It's great for short-term memory, great for that quick boost in skill, but, and this is a big but, it's temporary. Because we've all been here. You come back the very next day all excited, you sit down at the piano, and poof, it's gone. That smoothness, the accuracy, is just not there anymore. It feels like you've forgotten everything overnight. And that frustrating feeling points us right to the next type of change. The reason you lost all that progress is because those quick chemical boosts didn't have time to become structural changes. This is the second, and maybe most important mechanism. This is where your brain physically changes the connections, making them stronger, more permanent. Think of it like paving over a dirt path to create a superhighway. It takes more time, more repetition, but this is what you absolutely need to build real, lasting, long-term memories. And this isn't just a theory. We can actually see these changes in people's brains. It's incredible. Studies of London taxi drivers who have to memorize thousands of streets show they have a bigger brain region dedicated to spatial memory. People who read Braille develop larger sensory areas for their fingertips. Heck, you can see it in your own brain. The part that controls your dominant hand is physically larger than the other side. It's solid proof that what we do literally sculpts our brain. And finally, there's functional change. This is all about efficiency. The more you use a part of your brain, the easier it becomes to use it again. It gets more excitable, more ready to fire. It's like the whole network becomes more streamlined for whatever skill you're practicing. So okay, this is all fantastic, right? Our brains are these amazing, plastic, constantly changing organs. But that leads to a really important question, a paradox even. If our brains are so good at changing, then why is learning a new skill still so hard sometimes? Why do we struggle? And on a much more serious note, why is it so incredibly difficult for people to recover from a brain injury, like a stroke? And I want to be clear, this isn't just some philosophical question. Stroke is the leading cause of long-term disability for adults, period, all over the world. We've gotten really good at saving people's lives after a stroke, but we're still not very good at helping them recover their lives. The promise of neuroplasticity seems to hit a brick wall right here, and we have to understand why. Well, the research into this very problem has given us something incredible. You can think of it like a user manual for the human brain, and it really all boils down to 2 critical lessons that explain both the amazing power and the frustrating limits of neuroplasticity. First things first, we have to understand that neuroplasticity is a double-edged sword. The process itself is neutral. Your brain doesn't judge whether a change is good or bad, it just adapts to what you do. That's amazing when you're learning a new skill, but it's the exact same process that leads to forgetting things, to addiction, and even to chronic pain. Your brain is being shaped by everything you do, and, just as importantly, by everything you don't do. And that brings us to lesson number 1, and this is huge. Your behavior is the only thing that drives this change. There's no magic pill for learning, no shortcut for neuroplasticity. You have to put in the work. In fact, studies show that the harder you have to work, the more you struggle during practice, the bigger and more lasting the structural changes in your brain are.
Lesson 2 is just as critical. There is no one-size-fits-all way to learn. You've probably heard that 10,000 hours rule to master a skill, right? Well, it's just not that simple. Because every single one of our brains is structurally and functionally unique, the best way for you to learn is also unique to you. What works for your friend might not work for you. We don't need a single recipe for learning. We need personalized strategies.
So the ultimate takeaway here isn't just some cool science trivia. It is deeply empowering. It means that you, yes you, are the primary architect of your own brain. In the powerful words of Dr. Boyd, you have the ability to, quote, go out and build the brain you want.
So that leaves us with one last big question. Knowing that everything you do, everything you experience, every single moment is shaping your brain for better or for worse, what will you choose to do today to start building the brain you want to have tomorrow?